Greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the end of the night shift week. How you doing? Happy hump day to you. It's Real Talk Wednesday. Tonight we do a thing we call... on the night shift we do a thing we call Real Talk, also known as Marlon's favorite night shift show. I did mention that it's Real Talk Wednesday, didn't I? Inviting you to call a friend, tell a friend, call an enemy, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends. Tell everybody it's a night shift to DJ Kevin Stewie on live. I want to say big ups to all the affiliates. Enough love to you guys up there in New Jersey and IE Radio. Those locked in on TuneIn Radio, the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Those on Facebook Live. How you doing? Kicking off tonight with Shelly Sweet Shells.
The world must live in harmony. Turn the music up.
Tune called One Love.
No color is under the sun. When the music play, we join as one. It's a love inside me. When we move, we body. Can you feel the music? Oh, fantastic. It's a love inside me.
Alex, how you doing, bro? Love the work you're doing to get to expose who the Zodiac Killer really is. Love it, Alex. We can't wait until those articles come out, till the documentary gets done. I'm so excited, bro. The sound of Shelly Sweet Shells. Tune called One Love. Wanna say thank you to my segment sponsor, Pulse Media Group. When being in the moment is priceless, you want to give them a call for innovative streaming and recording solutions. 754-999-6020. Call them up, tell them DJ Kevin Stew sent you. Yo, I'm here to help, bro. So when you guys ready again, let's talk. So, speaking of love, tonight we're kicking it off and looking at love languages. And as far as, let's see, from the 90s, there have been what we know as 5 love languages. We recognize 5 love languages. And what we're gonna do tonight is see if we how we can navigate those love languages. And Dr. Gary Chapman had done the work in authoring the book The 5 Love Languages. And he was on a podcast. He was a guest on a podcast. And they asked him a couple of questions, So they asked him, "Hey, listen, could you share a little bit about your work and a little bit of the overview of the 5 love languages?" And he said, "Well, typically there are 5 ways to express love on an emotional love, so that you're meeting that deep emotional need that we all have to feel love." And he says, the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, which is using words to affirm the other person. Acts of service, doing something for the other person, anything that may be helpful for them or to them. Gifts, which is pretty much the universal language of an expression of love. Acts of quality time. I did already the acts of service. Quality time, which is giving undivided attention. Not just hanging out and trolling social media, but actually giving the person that you're spending some time with some attention. And physical touch, which kind of speaks for itself. When you think of physical touch, you think of babies especially. And even so much more so, babies born to mothers who are drug addicts. They pretty much are born going through withdrawal. And one of the things that they need is to be held. So that physical touch, at that point in time, that's the only language they know. Most babies, it works with them, but especially these, it's kind of what they know. And Dr. Chapman goes on to say, everybody has a primary love language, and one will speak more deeply than others to each person. Now, hey Julianne, how you doing? Typically, he says, we will speak the language that we know to another person. So, by nature, we'll speak the love language that is dominant in us to another person. It is not necessarily always the case, and that depends on how you are brought up. And he gave the example of someone being taught, hey, listen, a young man being taught, you give women gifts. And so he grows up into a young man. So as a boy, he's taught, you always give women gifts. And now as a young man, he's giving these women gifts. And for him, as far as he knows, he's just doing as he was taught to do. But he really reaches out to someone and shows that he cares by way of doing acts of service. Now, if the person that is receiving the gifts, their love language is receiving gifts, well, he's talking to that person to the core. But he's meeting that need of that individual. But he is not meeting them and giving of himself fully. You understand? Numbers to call, numbers to text, by the way, 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram on that number to get you in touch so that we can chit chat and interact tonight. Those of you who are overseas and can't use that method, you can always Skype. Kevin.stew is a Skype handle. So don't be shy, you can just hit me up and we connect. Now, they asked him, so how do you feel about balancing each other's love language in a relationship, even if you're not good on showing the other person's love language? When they asked him that question, I was like, hey, this should be interesting. So he goes on to say, if you both understand the concept of different love languages and you each share it with the other person, then they have the choice to value that. Some love languages will be harder for someone to understand and give, but it is not impossible. It is up to both people in the relationship to value that the other person receives love in a given way and and be intentional about giving it that way. You want to take baby steps. It's like learning a new language. However, if the person isn't willing to learn your language, then you might want to pump the brakes on that one. If you're not willing to learn your love language when you're dating, they're not going to learn it when you're married. So this is something that you want to take into consideration when you entering into these relationships. And if you're of the mindset that you're saying, hey, listen, this one I'm going all the way, and this one is for the long haul, putting all my marbles in this basket, and till death do me part. And you say I do, and 2 weeks later you want to kill yourself because you said till death do you part. So you're looking for an out at that point, and that's just because you went into approaching the marriage with this new relationship energy. Everything is just peachy and bubbling, and the NRE is so great that nothing can go wrong. And boom, it wears off, and you don't know where to go. It sounds crazy, right? But it happens more often than not. He goes on to say, manage your expectations and recognize the other person may be in the process of learning your language. Now, there's another question he was asked is, there's a stigma that sharing your love language needs come across as needy. Is that true? And he says, I thought this was profound. Simple, yet very much to the point. He says, listen, at the core of it all, we're all needy. And I'm like, yes, that right there is so true. Because we are. We're very needy beings. And like it or not, some people get offended when you call them needy, but that's who we are as by nature. We all need something. No language communicates that there is something weak about the other person. None. There's a tendency to put yourself down because you have a particular love language, but be kind to yourself and understand the concept. We're the hands and feet of God, he goes on to say. So if someone does receive love in a particular way, especially in a dating relationship, we should learn to give it to them in that way. So we need to be present in the relationship and understand what our partners are in need of. It is common, and she goes, the host of the podcast goes on to say, is it common and do you ever see it happen that your primary love language will shift in different seasons of life? And he said, for the most part, like many personality traits, they tend to stay with us for a lifetime. During certain seasons, there may be times when another love language may mean more than another. And it is possible to misdiagnose your love language. So sometimes it just takes time to really be aware of yourself to find it. So he is saying at this point, hey, listen, you might look at this thing and think that you're one thing, and you did some little quiz somewhere along the line and you feel that this is the answer, but you didn't take time to connect with self. You didn't take time to say, all right, the survey says I am acts of service, but I'm really quality time. I'm really physical touch. But you didn't take the time out to look at what you have done in your life, how you have related to others, how you feel when people relate to you in certain ways. And you miss it. You miss it completely. So take the time out. Get to know yourself. Another question I was asked, for single people, how single people who have a primary love language of physical touch or quality time, how do we do this in a time like COVID? So a time like today when we're restricted by quarantines and such, how and if someone is in the military and they're deployed, they're not there to feel that to have that physical touch or to have that quality time physically. And he goes on, Gary Chapman goes on to say, it may not be the easiest to do, but there are ways to be intentional and get around these barriers. And he talked about his version of the book he wrote for military couples, in which he talked a lot about long distance and being separated. So you might want to check that out. It gives you some answers. And in today's world, he says, it's easier to speak a lot of these languages with today's technology. So you can take the time out and have quality time with someone virtually. You're not having that physical time, but you're having quality time nonetheless. And it all depends on how you process that quality time. You spend 5 minutes with someone giving you their undivided attention. It may be more valuable to you than 5 hours with an individual who was playing a video game, trolling social media, and talking with their family members while sitting beside you. So it's not quite the same. The question was asked, if there's only 5 love languages really, and if there's a 6th love language, or if he had ever thought about the concept of including a 6th. And he goes on to say, the sixth love language is unofficially chocolate. And I immediately thought, why, the amount of chocolate that is sold in February alone, it kind of gives some support to that answer of it officially being chocolate. And the host, Kate, and Gary Chapman went on to discuss how showing up for the other person is really just at the core of love in all languages. And they looked at how men when men would plan something, while not an official love language, it falls under the umbrella of acts of service. Because some would say, boy, this guy will plan an event. My boyfriend planned this event for us, or plan to go out on this thing. So is planning a love language? Planning for the relationship, planning for the future of the relationship, does that constitute a love language? And that could fall under the umbrella of acts of service. And those went on to ask, hey, so why is understanding languages so important? And Dr. Chapman said there are two stages of love, and it is important to know that the high of a relationship and those romantic feelings don't last much longer than 2 years. Practicing showing these love languages to each other in a relationship won't make you miss the high, and helps make sure the other person feels loved. Basically, he's saying that new relationship energy that I mentioned earlier can go on for 2 years. But if you understand how love languages work, then you can work through it to go beyond those 2 years. He says love is a choice, so being intentional is crucial in a healthy relationship. This concept applies to all relationships, not just dating relationships, and you can use this to help your relationship with your parents, with your siblings, your cousins, your neighbors, your co-workers, just about anybody. Understanding this could be the first step in the healing process of broken relationships. And we know, if nothing else, all around us is broken relationships. It's everywhere. When he asked to give a final nugget of dating advice, he said, don't run into a relationship. Walk in. Take it slow. Give yourself time and enjoy the process. And y'all can listen to the podcast at the heartofdating.com. It's really cool. It was their 100th episode of the podcast. And I thought that was really, really cool that they did that and they had that chat. Because everybody would know the 5 love languages. Everybody has heard of the 5 love languages somewhere, somehow, some point in time in their life. So now, with having the overview of a love language, how do you deal with it when the person that you have chosen to be with, or persons as the case may be, depending on how you see relationships or how you do relationships, what if you have different love languages? How do you navigate that? And Bustle.com, Amanda Chattel wrote an article in Bustle.com, and she said, not everyone speaks the same love languages at all. And sometimes you may come across people that have a different love language from you, but you make this connection. There are actually 5 love languages according to Gary Chapman, and we know this because we just touched on it, right? Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And what this means is that how we display our love to our partner and how we receive their displays of love to us might be totally different. And so different that it can create tension. Now, as someone who was in a relationship with a person who spoke a different love language than herself, she says, I know how difficult it can be. And Amanda goes on to write, while he was more inclined to show his love through physical touch, because he loved to cuddle, and quality time, because he always wanted to be with her, she was more about words of affirmation and acts of service. And naturally, not above receiving gifts at all, because we all like to receive gifts, right? So there should be telling him how awesome and talented he was, and as a way to show her love to him. And he'd be trying to hold her and cuddle with her for the next week and a half, just to show that he loves her. But just because you and your partner speak different love languages doesn't mean that you have to just call it quits. Yeah, Bobby, the site is down for a minute. I know I had it in the post that you can catch me on the website, but the site is down for a while. So this is the hangout spot tonight. So tell everybody, your friends, enemies of your friends, and friends of your enemies, everybody. All right, so what? So how can we detangle what is lost in translation? How can we cipher it or decipher it? One, recognize that not every couple speaks the same love language. But think about it. If everybody spoke the same love language, how boring things would be. It would, wouldn't it? 773-789-STEW gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram, you can Skype me on kevin.stew. Let's talk. Share with me how if you know your love language and how you have navigated through your relationships or your current relationship with the love language that you have and the love language of your partner. You know, let's talk about it. 773-789-7839. Now, and before I even go any further, let me say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands for sponsoring this segment of the broadcast. Althea SU is a licensed massage therapist that comes to you operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you with her table, her oils, and her Healing Heavenly Hands, along with 21 years of experience. Yeah, we can get into specifics like that. 21 years of experience as a massage therapist. So give her a call. 954-655-9000. That's 954-655-9000. Or email her at thealater@att.net. That's thealater@att.net. And as an extra bonus, those of you who caught the broadcast on Monday, you'd have heard of Chioli, Change Your Lifestyle, Change Your Life. Althea, that's Althea's new business as a personal trainer. So you can get personalized training services and also a massage therapist with one phone call. I don't know how much better than that you can have it. Hey, cuz, how you doing? Now, so let's continue with looking at our love languages. So the first thing to recognize is that not everybody has the same love language. Although you may be with someone who speaks the same exact love language as you, the same can't be said for all couples. How we express and receive love is based on our past, our present, and our personalities. If you came from a family where love was expressed physically, then there's a good chance that might be your love language with your partner. If they didn't come from such a background, their idea of displaying love could be spending time together, even if that time is spent watching watching movie marathons on the couch for hours and hours. It could be something completely different from yours, so understand that. You want to establish what your love language is. And since there are 5 love languages and chocolate, it's probably a good idea if you know what your love language is and what type of chocolate you or someone else might like. Like me, I'm a white and milk chocolate kind of a guy. The dark chocolate does not work for me unless she's cute. But I don't like the bitter taste of the dark chocolate. However, the dark chocolate is a healthier chocolate. Go figure. So I'm a milk chocolate or a white chocolate kind of a guy. Now, but let's go back to the information as per bustle.com. Are you more physical in nature? Do you find that you feel you're expressing your love to the highest extent when you're telling your partner that there's nothing they cannot do? On Gary Chapman's site, he has quizzes that will help you to understand what your love language is. And you may be surprised to find out what your love language actually is. Or find that you're in somewhere in the middle of two. You might be sharing, receiving gifts and acts of service as your 2 highest scores. So, you juggle and balance between these two. Going on, learn to compromise. And compromising can be kind of tricky at times, but learn to compromise. Relationships are about compromise. Yeah, most people not into the compromising thing, but it's just something that you need to do if you want to make a relationship work. I guess compromising could seem like you're giving up your position. But it is said, if you want good, you nose off a run. Jamaican saying, right? Since you can't avoid compromise, then you need to play the give and take game. What this means is that you need to give into being more physical if that's how your partner communicates their love, while they need to be more willing to perform acts of service if that is your love language. As Chapman wrote for motto, if you don't learn to speak your partner's language, then they won't feel loved and nurtured, and vice versa. So, the key thing at that point is to compromise. What is another big thing is communication. You want to communicate what you need to feel loved. Now, unless your partner can read minds, then you really have to tell them. Say the words. What you need from them, tell them. If you are compromising, then you need the same from them, but they can't give you until you communicate that very thing. Those lines of communication need to be wide open if you're going to get over your love language differences and not let them be a roadblock. And you know how language barriers work with relationships. If you don't find a way to communicate, then you may as well call it quits. You want to understand that you don't have to speak the same love language to have a successful relationship. There are many components to a relationship, and love languages your love language is just one of them, which is promising for those who don't speak the same love language that you do. But while that's great to hear, we still need to go back to the compromising factor of how to cope when you and your partner speak different love languages. You may not need to speak the same love language to have a great and healthy relationship, but you do need to be willing to give a little on your end, just as much as they need to do the same on theirs. So, communication, let's come back to communication again. Because the love language is different, you don't just do it and expect that your partner is going to understand what you're doing. You don't expect that they'll be receiving of what you're giving, and that will be the end of it all, because you have done your best. You have given all that you have, all that you can give, but that's not where it ends. If you're giving something that I don't want, then you're giving me the worst thing ever. You see how that works? So you want to communicate that when you give, this is how you show love, this is how you express love. And those that are receiving it, you need to express that, hey, I get that this is what you're doing, and I appreciate, love you for that. Could you incorporate a little bit of this for me? Because this is how I receive love. And now that I know that this is how you give love, I will try to give you the love that you want by this method. So just that communication alone, that little bit of communication, can change that whole, period of that relationship, whether it be a night, a week, a year, a decade, whatever. Recognizing that and having that discussion and keep having, when you continuously have that discussion, you have those reminders. It can change everything. It can keep what you have going. You also want to accept that love languages may not change. So while we can learn to speak the same love language, it doesn't change the fact that our love language is what it is. And with that in mind, you need to be cognizant of what it takes for both of you, and both you and your significant other, to feel love and adoration. You can learn and communicate and compromise and even tweak how you go about things for the sake of each other. But at the end of the day, if you and your partner speak different love languages, that's not going to change. And the sooner you realize that and put in place coping mechanisms and how to learn how to communicate, the better off the relationship will be, and the easier it will be to navigate those love languages. But you have to be present in that you recognize what you need and what you give. And then you have to communicate that. And after you communicate that, then comes that part of compromise. And again, it is not saying that you're giving up your position. It is saying that you're accepting another position. And someone else is accepting yours. See, that's a little bit of growth now, isn't it? So, adorethemparenting.com says there can be a challenge when it comes to showing love. The challenge is that we tend to show someone else that we care for them through the way we feel love. And it may not make as big of an impact on that individual if it is not their love language as well, which is pretty much what we were focusing on just now. So in navigating the love languages, if your love language is words of affirmation, then compliments, verbal encouragement, and acknowledgement mean a lot to you. This also means that the opposite is the most painful, such as verbal abuse and non-constructive criticism. It can just devastate you. So if you have a spouse or a child or a friend that subscribes to words of affirmation, that is their love language, then you need to take extra special care and be cautious about what is coming out of your mouth. To you, it might be an innocent remark or a quick reaction that you regret later. But for these individuals, again, it can be devastating. So try to use positive remarks as much as possible. Compliment them on their efforts, their accomplishments, and acknowledge what they're saying to you. If you're giving advice to make a change, you don't have to be hurtful about doing it. Then there are the ones that receive gifts. That is their love language. And the misconception with this is that you just want expensive gifts. No, that's not how it goes. So what it really means is that everything you receive is sentimental. And special occasions are very important. No matter how big, how small, how expensive, or even if it's handmade. So the person that received it, it is special. I am one personally that when I get things, I cherish them. I have items that I have been given as gifts that broke, and I can't use them the way that I had received it, and I still keep the two pieces because, well, you could say I'm a hoarder, but it's not quite the same. I hold the item as precious because it was a gift, and that's just how I am. The thought of someone thinking about you and your interests and then sharing or gifting it with or to you truly means more than words. And oftentimes, these individuals love little trinkets from fun outings or their travels. They appreciate their child's crafts and save just about anything and everything. But this also means that they put a lot of time into gifting things to others. Even if gifts are not your love language, it is theirs. So show your appreciation when receiving. Make that extra effort when giving them something in return. And don't forget to really celebrate those special occasions. Then you have those with their thing is quality time. And it would probably be a safe thing to say that we all love spending quality time with someone we care about. But for certain people, this is even more important. The intimate date nights, the special outings together. These are wonderful, beautiful even. And that alone is very important. But this can even mean simply taking a walk together, running errands with one another, accomplishing something as a team, sitting down and having uninterrupted conversation with zero distractions. These are moments that really count. Long phases without this one-on-one time will be the biggest challenge you should try to avoid. Extended periods of time apart or the lack of quality time together will leave these individuals feeling unimportant and will ultimately hurt the relationship. Then there's physical touch. And This kind of speaks for itself, but couples obviously should try to share intimate moments. But this can also be explored beyond the bedroom. And I see this all the time. Intimate and intimacy is not just that sexual act. And just this past weekend, I was on Bar Talk as we produced Bar Talk, and I mentioned intimacy, and we talked about it for a little bit, and that is that intimacy is that bit of time, that bit of discussion that you share of yourself wholeheartedly. It is not the superficial stuff. It's that deep down stuff that really connects people. So it doesn't have to be sexual at all. People living thousands of miles apart that can only contact each other by phone or by video chatting or whatever. These individuals, or text even, their intimacy would lie in the depth of their discussions. Anyway, I digress. So your children might appreciate a nice big bear hug before they head off to school, or expect those bedtime kisses and snuggles each night. They often like holding your hand, sitting on your lap, and being as close to you as possible. If this is not your love language, then it may at times feel like an invasion of your personal space. But if you can understand the true importance behind it, make sure that you're not just telling them that you care. Show them that they are very much loved and that they are important. The other side of this should also be considered when disciplining. Spanking and physical withdrawal will have a major negative impact on these individuals, so look for other ways to help them learn and grow. Let them do wall sits, squats, push-ups, hold their right leg with their left hand and their left ear with their right hand. That's an old one, right? Who remembers that? But, do something else. But, if you are there with them as you punish them, then they may not feel as unloved. We all like when someone does a chore for us, right? So this now speaks to the acts of service. We like when someone serves us breakfast in bed. But for some people, this means much, much more. Even if you're not able to take over their entire workload, helping them with certain tasks, caring for them in a thoughtful way, and surprising them with random acts of kindness will make a big impact. Consider making their favorite meal, taking out the trash before they wake up, leave a sweet note in their car with a hot cup of coffee. These small acts of service will go a long way. But what will be hurtful to these individuals is no follow through. Don't say you will paint their bedroom and then never get around to it. Be careful not to say yes to the teacher, your boss, to your church, and everyone else around you, but then drop the ball on those at home. Remember that taking care of these individuals is what shows them that you really do care. So, while you may have listened to me ramble on about all of this and thought, well, all of these love languages are important. And they very well may be. We all feel loved in a variety of ways. if you go ahead and you read the book or you take the quiz, you will realize that there are one or two areas that would be more important to you than others. And if someone in your life is failing to show you their love through your language, then that relationship might be suffering. Navigating the love languages is not hard. It takes some genuine attention, though, and some initial effort to figure it out. Maybe your partner only ever gives you nice things, but fails to ever give you a compliment. Chances are their love language is receiving gifts. And that is how they are showing that they care. But it may also mean that you are not feeling acknowledged or appreciated. But here it is. Whereas you're saying, this person doesn't care for me because all they do is give me these things. They never tell me how they truly feel. They just give me stuff. Anybody can give anybody something. And you end up totally missing it. Because they're giving you something straight from their hearts. You maybe have a friend that you have been running errands for and going out of your way to help, but it still feels they're pulling away from the relationship. Why are you showing them love through acts of service when instead their real desire is just quality time? Well, here's a thought. Although that quality time is time spent with that person, if you express to that person that whereas you cannot give them that time with them at that particular, however they want it, you doing this act for them is keeping them in mind, and you're doing it and keeping them in your thoughts. So it is like you're with them as they do it. Maybe, just maybe, they may process that as having that quality time because this is an errand that they would have to do, but you are doing it on their behalf as a means to stay connected. Maybe they'll get it. You won't know until you have the discussion. Here we go again. We communicate, right? Did you ever hear of marriages or relationships or even work partnerships that eventually fell apart, and their reasoning was that we grew apart? While sometimes that may be true for a variety of reasons, there's a thought. Did they simply not feel appreciated? Or appreciate loved, as I would say. There was no big fight, no drama, nothing made any headlines. No scandalous affair or physical abuse. But the lack of love or feeling loved. This is very hard to live with. And this would be the reason that we're all encouraged to find out how those are around us feel love and express love. And figure out a way to show them that you do care by considering their love language. Now, that might sound like a lot of work, but is it not worth it? Wouldn't it be worth it to put in that little bit of effort in making sure that those that you consider valuable around you are that they're feeling loved? And I'm saying that this applies to your children also. That little bit of a hug that they would want that would just make their day, but you're not much of a hugger. You really think that they care whether or not you are that much of a hugger when you give them that hug? They just know that you gave them that hug and it meant everything to them. And now they can go and conquer the world just because of that hug. You gave them what they needed to go and do that exam that they needed to do, to face that bully who was at school making fun of them, to whatever it is, that one thing that speaks to them, that recognition of their love language just changed their whole world. So you might wonder, if there are all these love languages, these 5 love languages, is there any of them that is more common than the rest? Well, we might be able to get some answers on that. And before I do that, I want to big up this upcoming segment sponsor and say thank you once again to Althea for sponsoring the previous segment. Again, Althea SU is a licensed massage. Her name is SU, just like issue, spelled with an E. So it's ESSUE. Those of you who are searching for her on social media, Althea SU is a licensed massage therapist that comes to you operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties, and her number is 954-655-9000, 954-655-9000, 9000. Give her a call, tell her DJ Kevin Stew sent you, and ask when you can get your massage. She's also a personal trainer, so if you're looking to improve your fitness, her business is called Chioli, CHYOLI, Change Your Lifestyle, Change Your Life. And she you can even see it on YouTube. I showed some videos, some clips, some pictures of before she started her own personal transformation and after. And she was in the military some 30 plus years ago. And the day she graduated the military, last Veterans Day, she wore her graduation uniform. That's a big deal. 35 years later, you're wearing the uniform that you graduated military school in. That's a big deal for her. So she showed her own personal transformation, and now she's helping others to, if they're trying to make a transformation or just stay healthy and change their life by means of changing their lifestyle, she helps with that. So yeah, Althea, you're gonna pay me extra for this one. I demand a free massage. So give her a call for your personal training and or your massage. And I want to say thank you to this segment sponsor, Reggae Global Entertainment. Reggae Global act as your booking agents, handle your tour management, take care of your business registration, your legal service referrals, your trademarks, your music production, marketing and promotion, and more. Give them a call, 954-998-8034. That's 954-998-8034. Or you can check them out online at reggaeglobalentertainment.com. Thank you, Reggae Global and friends. So, most common of the 5 love languages. What do you think those would be, or that would be? Now, according to Gary Chapman, author of Words of Affirmation, not Words of Affirmation, author of the 5 Love Languages, where, again, he talks about the 5 love languages. Let me remind you what they are. Words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and receiving gifts. The 5 love languages. According to Chapman, words of affirmation are the most common of the primary love languages, but only by a small margin. And that is based on the responses of 10,000 people who took the online quiz on his website in December of 2020. So it's long time information. That may have changed by now. But the breakdown that he gave was 23% chose words of affirmation, or their results were words of affirmation. 20% had quality time, 20% have had acts of service, 19% had physical touch, and 18% were receiving gifts. So they're all very close. But Chapman also noted that it was not a scientific study, just a sampling of people who came to his website during that time period. So you might ask, all right, does this matter any? And how so? Well, in relationships, people tend to express love to a partner in the way that they personally most like to receive it. The trouble is that one person's primary love language doesn't always align with that of their partner. So, while a back rub after a long day at work might make someone who values physical touch feel like $1,000,000, the same gesture may not at all mean the same thing to someone else. So, after many years of counseling couples in crisis and taking notes during each session, Chapman told HuffPost that he sat down one day and began thinking about what it takes for a person to feel loved. And it became apparent, he says, that what makes one person feel loved isn't always the same for their spouse or their partner. I would go on to say partners. I have been touching on the aspect of I've recognized that individuals have relationships with multiple people also. So let's not leave any groups out. And he goes on to say, I've discovered every person understands and receives love in a specific language, one of the 5 to be precise. If your partner's primary love language is words of affirmation, then you can make them feel loved by telling them how much you appreciate their compassionate nature or any other positive quality. Complimenting their appearance or commending them on a job well done. The words can be spoken face to face, over the phone, written on a card, text, or email, but just communicate them. All of us appreciate affirming words, but for those whose primary love language is words, there's nothing that speaks more deeply. The important thing is that the words are spoken sincerely as an expression of your love for them, not in an effort to manipulate them to do something for you. And it's when it comes to manipulation and influence, it's a very thin line. You might remember I touched on that some time ago. But you don't want to be manipulating so that something can be done for you. Hey Steady, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been? Love languages. That's what we're stewing up in the pot tonight. Love languages. Now, on the flip side, for someone who is into words of affirmation, harsh criticism can be particularly painful. So you want to be watching that. When you use negative or critical words with this person, your words are like a dagger in their heart. Your critical words hurt them more deeply than they would hurt someone with a different love language. So you would really want to be mindful of that. The least common love language, he goes on to say, and only by a small margin, as at his survey done back in December of 2010, receiving gifts. So, of the 5, this one in particular gets a bad reputation. Just because receiving gifts makes your partner feel loved doesn't mean they're superficial or materialistic. Rather, it means that this individual is moved by the time, thought, or effort put into choosing the gift. That means they will also notice when very little love went into a gift. The wife who gives her husband a vacuum cleaner for his birthday is likely thinking about how the gift might benefit her rather than him. And, well, if he is one that loves to do housework, then you just made his day. If that vacuum cleaner is a shop vac and he does a lot of work in the garage, or he has a shop where he's working with his hands building things, building things, then that is probably one of the best gifts ever. So, here we go. It's a fine line, and you have to be careful how you navigate it. If this is your partner, pay special attention to their comments when you're out shopping together or watching TV, a commercial, or as they might be hinting something consciously or subconsciously. The things that they would put on a wish list. Pay attention to these things. They often verbalize what they would like. So make a note of it. They're giving you valuable information. For me, personally, for Kevin Stew, I'm an act of service kind of a guy. And I believe I'm this way because of how I grew up. Going to church in the Salvation Army in Jamaica, and as a musician, we every year, at least twice a year, it would be a big thing where we would visit nursing homes, children's homes, hospitals, prisons. And as a musician, I'd be playing music, and there would be other members of the church that would be going around giving little care packages and sharing a word here or there. And if it's a children's home or a nursing home, hold a hand, give a hug, hold a child. And I guess this has been a molding point for me, because it happened in my formative years. I started playing music at age, I started learning at 10, I started playing at 11. And I did that for, I think the last time I played brass instrument would have been 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And this was at Salvation Army Thanksgiving lunch in Palm Beach at the community center, where we did lunch for the community. It's and that was normal for me. And there was just this joy that I felt as I did it. And even today, even right now, this broadcast, as I give you information, it's my act of service. This is my passion. The night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, this is my passion. And so I give with all that I can give in when I look up the information and I present it to you and I share of myself in it. This is it's who I am. So for me, and I guess you could say this is my primary love language. And another would be quality time, because this time that we get to spend together. And I could reason them all out. Words of affirmation that's coming up there. I probably should do the test, the quiz again to see where they fall. And as a matter of fact, I will do the quiz again to see where they fall. If you want to know what my results are, hit me up. 773-789-STEW. That's 773-789-7839. You can call me, you can text me, you can WhatsApp me, Telegram me, you can Skype me on kevin.stew as my Skype handle. You can email me, djkevinstew@gmail.com. You know, if you want to know what my results are, I'm going to do the test again. If you want to know what my results are, hit me up. I'll share them with you. You can, and you can follow me on social media. At DJ Kevin Stew, at TNS with Kevin Stew, and that's WID Kevin Stew on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube, The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. So if you search for me on whichever search engine you use, Kevin Stew or The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew, you'll find me. And of course, you'll find the podcast also. So do support that also. Thank you very much for your love and support. I truly appreciate it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bounce on off of Facebook Live, and we're going to close out the night shift week with an extended musical therapy. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then we will get right into that. Did I miss any messages on the text line? Let me check that really quickly before I bounce off. Okay, so no. All right. No text messages. I guess everybody was just listening. So we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to bounce off Facebook Live. Thank you again. We will talk again on Facebook Live. For those of you who want to listen in to the remainder of the broadcast, you can do so on nieradio.com. You can also go to TuneIn, The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew, and listen there for the remainder of the broadcast. Until next time, Saturday night, you can catch me Saturday night on Reggae Global Radio for the Saturday Stew. And in the Saturday Stew, you get to hear Pre-Life, courtesy of Red Fox, his outlook on life and real things of life, and as he presents that. And you get to experience the secret ingredient. And the secret ingredient is a special guest for the evening. And you never know who that might be until I introduce them. So, hence the secret ingredient. They add spice to the Saturday Stew on Reggae Global Radio and the Foundation Radio Network.com. Clinton Lindsay, the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. So, those of you who want to hear the more musical side of me for an entire broadcast, that is where you find me, the Saturday Stew. All right, and you can also check out that podcast and hear secret ingredients that I have interacted with already. And I'm still uploading broadcasts to both podcasts. All right, so they're not all there. You go to YouTube, you'll get all the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew broadcasts since 2018, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. So there are over 400 shows on YouTube on the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back for musical therapy. Those on Facebook Live, deuces to you. Jump on over to TuneIn, the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew, and nieradio.com for the remainder of the broadcast. Catch you later.
Pulse Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. a new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulse Media Group.
Imagine having our own Caribbean Center.
Imagine a museum highlighting our history and the contributions of Caribbean people to the world.
Imagine being able to visit and learn about the islands we call home.
In a place where our kids can see and feel their cultural heritage. You can make this vision come to life.
Help us create this first-of-its-kind space
that all Caribbean people can be proud of. Your contribution to Island Space Caribbean Museum will help this dream come true.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe and donate today.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This non-profit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or $415,000 US.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
Yes, my people, check out I Red Funks on Reggae Global Radio every Saturday at 8 p.m. with Kev Stew, where I'll give you a pre-life, brand new, good for you. Kick it like a ball if you don't say a dance song, you hear that?
It's Christina representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin's Stew and the night shift radio show, yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa. DJ Kevin's Stew at the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin's Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christine. It's hard to talk loud.
Hey, beautiful woman, you're radiantly smiling, girl. Gotta have you in my world. Oh yeah, It's been a while since I've been trying to get you in my life, oh girl. You deny and I keep trying. Someday I gotta make you mine. Don't listen to what people say. Rumors won't get us anywhere. I've got so much love to share. I make a child my own. Let me give you my love. Let me give you my love. Let me satisfy all your needs. Satisfy.
we close out the night shift week with this musical therapy right here on Real Talk Wednesday.
Scared to give my heart away, even from my past mistakes. If it's real, then you will wait. I wanna give you my all. Then you give me your love. If you just stick around, then you can satisfy all my needs.
Girl, I can't wait to hold you in my arms, and I just want to please you all night long.
The love we share is more than just a fleshly thing. So take my hand and bow before the King of Kings. Then you give me your love.
If so, I'm totally yours.
Then you can satisfy all my needs.
The sound of Phil Watkins working out with Anne Marie.
I know everything takes time, so
A track called Give You My Love.
waiting for you, lady. They say patience is a virtue, and time will never hurt you.
I will have to let you know if the vibes are flowing. Let me give you my love. If you do stick around, let me
Satisfy all your needs.
Let me give you my love. Let me give you my love.
If I could make a wish, I think
This is the sound of Hezron.
can't think of anything.
His rendition of The Air I Breathe.
No cigarettes, no sleep, no lights, no sound, nothing to eat, no books to read. Making love with you has left me peaceful, warm and tired. What more could I ask? There's nothing left to be desired. Peace came upon me and it leaves me so sleep, silent angel, go to sleep.
Sometimes all I need is the air that I breathe to love you. All I need is the air that I breathe to love you. All I need is the air that I breathe.
Peace came upon me and it leaves me weak. So sleep, silent angel, go to sleep. Yeah. Sometimes all I need is the air that I breathe to love you.
This is the zone of Paul Anthony. Working out with Maurice Gregory.
I'll be there for you. Even if you
Check it's called When You Need Me.
I'll still care for you. When you need me, I'll be always here. Even when I don't pick up the phone, it don't mean I don't care. It's just somehow I'm always busy. It's hard to get a life when you have to make a living. I know I got some family and friends out there who me a link with our chat to in months and years. Yeah, it no fear, it I swear. But if I say I love you, that means I still care. Trust me, sometimes I gotta walk alone, but I'll be back home real soon. When you need me, I'll be there for you. Even if you don't talk all the while, I'll still care for you. When you need me, I'll be always here. Even when I don't pick up the phone, it don't mean I don't care. Well, I'm not the best at reaching out and keeping in touch, but I promise to try to do better. Cause if I lose you tomorrow, my friend, I would wish we could spend more time together. Yeah, my only regret, need more time for the people I can't forget. Before they're just a memory, I forgive thanks for the love that you're giving me and push right through the anxiety. When you need me, I'll be there for you. Even if you don't talk all the while, I'll still care for you. When you need me, I'll be always here. Even when I don't pick up the phone, it don't mean I don't care. It's been a long time since I've seen you, yeah. But still you're on my mind. Oh, miss you, such a long time since you lost out. But the love that's in the clouds, I'm here for you. When all is lost, just say the word. When you need me,
I want to say thank you to this segment sponsor, the GMAT Music Solutions. When being in the moment is price, let's give them a call. GMAT Music Solutions will provide sound, stage, light production services, musical equipment, PA systems, audio engineers, DJs, bands, musicians, singers, and more. Give them a call, 754-307-GMAC at 754-307-4622, or you can check them out online, gmatmusicsolutions.com.
even when I don't pick up the phone, it don't mean I don't care. When you need me, I'll be there for you. Even if you don't talk all the while, I'll still care for you. After all I've been through, I never knew I'd ever find you.
This is new music from Audley Rollin.
Never knew I'd find the love that I need.
The track is called Never Knew Love Till You.
No one else has ever done the things you do. You love me for me, not for what I have or for what I could be. Never knew love till you. No one else has ever done the things that you do. Never knew love could be true. I would not want to live without you. Never knew love till you. It's a blessing to have found you. Your love is unconditional. Lord, I thank you for loving me.
And DJ Kevin's true. Pull up that song, them like it. Bye.
Yeah man, I like it. It's bad for real.
So all I've been through, I never knew I'd ever find you. Never knew I'd find the love that I need. you. No one else has ever done the things you do. You love me for me, not for what I have or for what I could be. Never knew love till you. No one else has ever done the things that you do. Never knew love could be true. I would not want to live without you. Never knew love till you. It's a blessing to have found you. Your love is unconditional. Lord, I thank you for loving me. Love is kind, love is not puffed up, it's not easily provoked, and it's not selfish. Love endures all things, it rejoices in the truth. So when perfection came around, I told all others goodbye. After all I've been through, I never knew I'd ever find you. No, I never knew I'd find the love that I need in you.
This song is really nice, isn't it? It's called Never Knew Love Till You. He goes by the name Audley Rollin, aka The Wiz. You can catch him.
Love is kind, love is not puffed up, it's not easily
You can catch him on Reggae Global Radio
selfish. Love endures all things, it rejoices.
each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern
Came around, I told her
on the International Reggae Gospel Show.
after all I've been through, I never knew I'd ever find you. No, I never knew I'd find the love that I need in you. Singing songs of melodies. And she found
New music from Ian Sweetness.
that's why she fell in love.
That's what it's called. She Fell in Love.
Voice and it was right, so good to believe. That's why she fell in love. She only hear my voice and it was right, so good to believe. If she love her songs I'm singing, now she can feel the powers of my melodies. Your style and comprehension, you change your way of singing. You've gone from B to Z. So say your voice is full of tenderness. Excuse me, and she must confess. Ooh, I made her day. The first time she heard me singing there, ooh, she could not compare. She wanted me, no other way. She fell in love. She only hear my voice and it was right, so good to believe. That's why she fell in love. She only hear my voice and it was right, so good to believe. I wanna take you into my own.
This is George Prophet.
Wanna keep you safe and warm.
Called Take You in My Arms.
Wanna
heartaches. And sometimes the pressure is too much to take. I know sometimes you're feeling down and you are feeling low. But baby, this is something that you should know. I just wanna take you into my arms. I just wanna keep you safe and warm. I wanna take you into my arms. And I wanna shelter you from the storm.
20 minutes to the top of the hour. This is GAE.
Enough has happened in the past.
It's called A New Haiti.
Fast approaching is a brand new day.
In recognition of Haiti
Times are hard and fast.
and raising awareness to the country and their redevelopment.
The pain. The Lord has heard his people's tears. A new day comes with no more fear. Once divided, now unite. A new Haiti in a bright new light. Once divided, now unite. A free world with your sovereign mind.
Pull up that DJ Kevin, Sentinel say that.
Enough has happened in the past. Fast approaching is a brand new day. Present times are hard and fast. This mass oppression, it must dissipate. The Lord has heard his people's tears. A new day comes with no more fear. Once divided, now unite. A new Haiti in a bright new light. Once divided, now unite. A free world with your sovereign mind. Brokenness was brought within.
The seals of those who's conquering.
Lust and envy, greed and pride. A raw deal and a pack of lies. The Lord has heard his people's tears. A new day comes with no more fear. Once divided, now unite. A new Haiti
another one from Hezzy. It's called Once Again.
Just like
his rendition of Daughters.
All of the walls all continue to change. And I've done all I can to stand on her steps with my heart in my hand.
Talk about a love.
Now I'm starting to see
no love like that of a parent, right?
It's got nothing to do with me. Fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love you like you do. Yeah, yeah. Hey, girl, become lovers who turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters too.
This is the sound of Korik, his rendition of Everything I Own.
Without you, you sheltered me from
12 minutes to the top of the hour.
You gave my life to me.
12 more minutes before I get out of here.
Free. You set me free. The finest years I ever knew. Of all the years I spent with you. I would give everything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own, yeah, just to have you back again, just to talk to you once again. And if there's someone you know that won't let you go and is taking it all for granted, you might lose them one day. Someone takes them away and they don't hear a word you say. And I would give everything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again, just to talk to you once again.
Girl, I promise I will be there for you through the ups and the downs. You can count on me.
This is J. Will working out with Raps and Kush Band.
I will be there.
It's called There For You.
Yeah. You can count on me when the chips are down. You can count on me when skies look gray. Yeah. But girl, I want you to know that you're my best friend, and no tide could ever drift me away. Girl, I promise I will be there for you through the ups and the downs. You can count on me. If ever you're feeling lonely, I will be there for you, yeah, for you, for you, yeah. Loving you is a pleasure for me, baby, believe me. Just the person you are, you're making it easy. I'm gonna be there for you, baby, believe me. I'm open like a book so you can read it. And I promise I will be there for you through the ups and the downs. You can count on me. If ever you're feeling lonely, I will be there.
Why do you fight us so? Yeah, you. When we're only here to multiply and purify this earth. You take a man and you judge us all. But put yourself in my place. Wanna see if you stand up tall. We are beautiful people.
This is the sound of Miss Annette Brissett. It's called Beautiful People.
We are beautiful people, all coming from creation. We are from a place where there is lots of pretty faces and smiles, and every once in a while we come across this good times. You are no better, as we are no worse. Why every little thing you point a finger first. And boy, we are beautiful people, all coming from a beautiful man. We are what we are, beautiful people, all coming from creation. We have the black, the white, the yellow, the red, and everything on between. Everything in life have its meaning, boy. Beautiful. We have the fat and the short, the skinny and the tall, and everything beautiful. Everything in life have its meaning, boy.
Beside every good man, there stands a great woman. Now I don't know how good I am, but I'm sure glad you're mine.
This is the sound of Code Red Band out of South Florida.
I'm out to say you're appreciated. I wouldn't be so.
The track is called Unconditionally.
In my life.
I want to thank you each and every one for being here with me unconditionally, and invite you to look out for members of your community, reminding you your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, or the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stew, so I like to do it to you, for you, and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 till midnight. The night shift to DJ Kevin Stew.
Just me and you. Too often I've canceled these appointments.
As we go into the strong end, I do also want to encourage you to be good. But if you can't be good, to be good at it.
I don't deserve you. You give me everything. You treat me like a king. I know sometimes I hurt you. You still give me love.
This is Marcia J. Ball as we close on out.
Every minute, every day, you're still so special, special to me.
That's the title of the track right there. Someone special like you.
All of the real nice guys I've ever known, I never felt the way that I feel when I'm with you. And as sure as the sun will rise, I'll keep holding on. I'll hold on to you. I'll hold on to you. Sweet moments are the ones that we treasure. They're all built around the way I'm loving you. Like a sweet song that plays on every measure. Your sweet melody, it keeps me coming through. But you know at the end of the day, you're someone special, special to me.
special, special to me. My sugar, you give me love, love. You give me sweet love. And your precious love, I can't get enough. You give me love, love. You give me sweet love. And your precious love, I can't get enough. You're so good to me, best I'll ever see.
Y'all take care till we do this all again. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world from right here in South Florida.
So good.
I bid you a good night.
It's like ecstasy. You're so good to me. You're all that I need. Don't you know at the end of the day you're someone special, special to me.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The night shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.